So we'll be taking another step forward in our training program today. And one of the key things we will understand today is the life cycle of every product, be it web products like web application or mobile application. How do all these products are being developed? What are the life cycle? What are the stages? What are the process they need to go through before a product can move from idea to a reality? Okay, so that's where we'll be focusing most today. Uh, I got a statement here which goes like start paying attention to every UI component you come across. What do you understand with that statement? Anybody want to go first, please? Guys, what do you understand with that statement? Anybody?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear you?
Yeah, I would say it could loosely mean that you start paying attention to the functionality of virtually everything you come across. Like everything is designed for a purpose. Start paying attention to whether that particular thing is serving its purpose and how easy is it for people to understand the purpose of that thing.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much, something for that response. Yeah, something similar to that. Now, it is very important at this stage for each and every one of us to always pay attention to every user interface we are coming across, be it web application or mobile application. And when we are paying attention to this uh, user interface, what are the things we should be paying attention to? One of the things that you need to understand is the skeleton of every web application or mobile application. And what do I mean by the skeleton? I mean the parts, each part that every product must have. It's like you want to develop a car, you want to build a car, you want to create it, and you don't know the necessary parts that are supposed to be in that car. You will agree with me that it will be difficult for you to build a useful car if you don't even know all the necessary parts that should be in your product. Okay? So, and this is not what you can learn a day. It's just something that you have been experiencing before and something that you continue to be experienced in most of the products that you are interacting with. All of us are interacting with one or two products day in, day out, be it your school portal, be it your bank app, be it your social media app, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. You are interacting with all these applications. And What do I mean with the statement component, UI component? In every interface or that you are interacting with, each interface have different component. The component, let me just show you the major component that are common with every website. We got the header. I want to believe that some of us will are familiar with those terms before. And if you are not familiar with it, it is of high necessity that you familiar yourself with all this terminology. The reason being that you are not the only one that will be working in any organization you are working with. And if we said communication skill is important in any roles, the communication we are referring to is not normal English that you are speaking to the people, not just that alone, but ability to speak the language that other stakeholders that you will be working with will understand. And what do I mean by that statement? If the stakeholder knows something as header and you want to refer to that same thing and you are describing it with normal English that you understand, the person you are explaining to might not actually easily to understand what you are talking about, and that is professional communication, ability to communicate with other members of the organization in the right terminology that they can easily understand. So if you are telling a developer that, okay, at my header or at my footer, at my button, at my form and the likes, immediately you mention those times, definitely they know what you are referring to. But you cannot call yourself a UI or UX developer or a UI UX designer without master all those components, different component names, terminology that we have in the piece in order to able to communicate effectively with other members of the organization in which you will be working with them when you are working on a particular project. That's the first lesson there. The second thing is that every application have a kind of different approach to how they are creating this component. For instance, if you look at Amati website now, we have the header. Everything that you are seeing at the upper side, like this, from the logo to the menu, that's what we refer to the header. And if you look at another website, they also have their own header. If we also check Facebook, they have their own header. But what you will realize that different platforms are designed their header in different way. So once you are coming across this platform, try to be observant so that you can observe what are they doing right and what are they doing wrong, what are the innovation idea that you think about each of the components we are coming across. So basically, I will just use this slide to give you a simple illustration of different components that a typical website will have. So normally a typical website will have a header. In the header, we will have logo and the menu. Then the hero section. So this is what we call the hero section. Immediately after the header, you have the hero section. And what at the hero section, the most important thing is that we normally use it to catch attention whenever visitors come to the website. And if you look at this hero section now, you see that there are no much information there. You got a very big screen with an image and a very catchy word. Then the button that giving that, and those buttons, they also have their own name. We call them call to action. So header, hero section. In your hero section, you have the hero title. This is what we refer to the hero title. hero title. This is subtitle. Any information under the hero title, we refer them to as subtitle. Then we have the call to action. So those three things are important in your hero session. Then the image, maybe a particular image that's passing out a particular information about what your organization is all about. So those are the things you need to know as far as hero session is concerned. Now, different designer can now use all these components in different way to make their hero session look better. Then after the hero session, you can now move to the body of your website. I mean the landing page, the body, any other thing you want to include. Then mostly, then you can see these are another call to action. And if you notice those call to action, you can see there is consistency in those columns, and we will still come back there. There are a lot of things that involve, but what we are focusing on now is the components, so that you can, okay, when you are designing a website, you already know the expected components that at least minimally on a average level, the important components that each section must have. Okay, so this is another call to action, and the call to action also depend on how important they are. List of services can depend on different organizations, it can be in form of different things, but all those areas we can refer to them as the body of your website. Then from there, you can move to all these testimony aspects. We can also refer it as part of the body, because not all websites that we put that. So all this one, we can still refer them to as the body. So after the body, we can move to the footer. So another important component you always have in a website is the footer, and the footer as well can comprise of different things. You can have some quick link in which the user of the platform can easily use to navigate around the platform. So if we look, this is another type of footer. Let's also check for another one. Probably Facebook, due to their site is a continuous scrolling site, so you might not see footer there. So there are some exceptional cases where you might not able to see footer in a particular website because it is continuous scrolling site, platform like that. Okay, those are some of the components that you should pay attention to. Pay attention to how how they being function, the functionality and the look, the experience and the look. You'll be looking into those user interface component from the perspective of a UI designer, in which you will be consider the look, then from the perspective of a UX designer, in which you will be consider the experience you are passing through while you are using those products. And from there, you will get used to different necessary components a particular product can have. So by the time you are working on your own project, those things will be coming up and you will see one or two things to make use from those ideas you have gathered. So, and it is continuous process. It's something you will continue till you resign or you retire as a UI or UX designer, because new thing always comes up day in, day out. Okay, so same thing goes to mobile application. Mobile application, we have menu, we have button, we have slide, different components. Just always pay attention to each and every one of them. Look at what's good in them and what's bad in them. If you are the one that develop or design that particular app, what you will have done better, or what do they do that you are not aware about before. Those are the lessons you should always pick up on those applications you will be coming across starting from today. Okay, so let's move on to the life cycle of product development. So I will be using web development, stages of web development as a sample, but the same thing applicable to mobile application development. So see it, be it website or mobile app, the same thing we are discussing goes to each and every one of them. Okay, so all the products you have been seeing out there, be it Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or maybe bank, your mobile app for your bank, or think of any application you have on your phone, and think of any web application you have used before, different website, school website, and the like. Before all of them comes to reality, that become a product that everybody can now interact with, can use online. Those products always pass through these stages that you are seeing here. And what is the first stage? The first stage is the idea, as in the innovation stage. That's when somebody just wake up, or somebody is just in the toilet, it could be anywhere, and one idea, just one inspiration just come to your mind that, okay, we could create something like this. You think about it, and you think that it's a journey that worth embarking on. So the inspiration, the innovation starts with somebody that is just thinking about a particular idea. So you can see this gentleman here. Just wake up and think about, oh, we can create a platform to be connecting people with each other. We can create a platform to be connecting business to business, or connecting business to customer, or connecting customer to customer. He have the innovation idea. Then from there, we move to information gathering. So after the innovation idea comes up, the next stage is to move to information gathering about that idea. And what are the information we are looking to? We are trying to define the goals. Okay, this innovation we have on ground, what is the goals? Let's analyze the requirements, and then let's start schedule how we can start working on this idea. So at that stage, we are gathering information about the idea that we have on ground, in which that is the second stage. Like I said, every product, think about how Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook, or think of how Jack Ma started Alibaba. All these products follow this same life cycle. So after information gathering, then we can now move to strategic and planning. Different experts can give different names to all these stages, which don't really matter, but what really matters is what we are doing at each stage. Okay, so for information gathering, we move to the strategic planning to start planning based on the information we already have on hand. Now we can create a requirement document for the product A. What are the requirements that we need to have in this product? What are the tasks people can do on this particular product? What are the things they can do? What are the functionality that the product can have? We can start creating the requirement document. We can start creating the wireframe for the product. We can start creating clickable prototype and sitemap for the product at this stage. Once we have gathered all the necessary information about the product, then we can start the strategy and planning, and under the strategy and planning, those are the things we can do: documentation of requirement, wireframing, tweak, table prototype, and sitemap. So once all those have been settled, then we can move to the development. So like I said, the design and the development. The reason we have separate design and the separate stage for design and development is that in this case of web development, we may have front end design, back end development, and the like. Same thing happen to mobile app. All the application, be it web application or mobile application, only have the front end, which is the user interface the user will be interacting with, and the back end. You can see the back end like the engine of your car, and see the front end as the outside look of your car. Okay, so the outside look is there for people to see, and but the engine is inside, which is actually running the car, which is actually making the car function. And once you finish with the development, then you need to move to testing stage, like let the user test the product, test the usability of the product, how easy the product is, how to what level can we say your product are able to solve the particular problem you are trying to solve with your innovation idea. And once you do the testing, the test definitely after the testing you're able to gather more information, be it different comments or feedback you get from the testing. Then you can use those feedback to make improvements on the product, then launch your product. And the testing we can as well call it as evaluation, which is a continuous process. So the work did not end under launch. Once you launch your product, you need to continue maintaining the product, continue testing and evaluating the product to see if there's any area you need to make improvement on. User will start using the product and they will start making comment, be it good comment or bad comment. You will start able to gather more data from the users that are interacting with the product to make improvement on your product. So that is the necessary stage any digital products, be website or mobile application, we follow from the level, from the stage of idea to the stage in which they become a product that people are now using. Is that clear to all of us, or any question, please?
It's clear to me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Samson. Ajayi, are you there? And Ejiro?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, guys. So let's move on. Now we have looked at the life cycle of all of any product. But if you look at this life cycle, it's not every stage that concerns us as a UI or UX designer. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with that statement that it's not all these stages that really concern us as the UI or UX designer? Or you are
Um,
doubting?
hello.
Hello, can you hear you?
Yeah, some of them may not concern us like direct input of work, but it may concern us by following up and monitoring a project you are part of, like the testing, web development, web design, and you know the launch and maintenance. So launch and maintenance may concern us also, but some of like testing and web development may not concern us directly.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. Thank you so much for that response. That's totally correct. So some are consign us directly that as in we have a lot of responsibility to play there, in which some are not consign us directly there, but we are only participating in those aspects in order to ensure that the organization, everybody work together as a team to achieve the same goals that we are working towards. So let's look at the design aspect of all this life cycle. So I'll be using this chart to give us a brief as in a brief explanation about the design aspects that concern us most before we actually move into design process. Okay, so if you look at this first cycle here, you will see information architect. Do anybody have idea of what information architect is all about?
No, please tell us.
That sounds in right.
Yes, that's something.
Yeah. Any other person? Ejiro, Ashisa, Roslin?
Yeah, I have little idea.
Okay.
I think it's about someone that information architecture is how information is arranged in a website or app.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Thank you. Thank you. So
Yes,
that's
sir.
okay. Do you want to give a try? Asisat, you want to say something?
No, 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 sir.
Okay, thank you. So information architects deal with how information are being structured on our platform in a way that they are easily accessible to the user. So this when you will see the site map. You know, every site we have site map in which the site map is just like an arrangement in which information are being arranged on the platform. And you can also think about this like the site menu. If you click on the menu, you see different way, like different things you can do on that platform. Then you can start navigating through the platform. But just that's just uh, like a brief explanation about what information architect is all about. Just for us to understand is how information are being structured on our application for easy user accessibility. That's it. But information architect is a area of specialization on its own. Like somebody can specialize on that. You can decide not to be doing UI or you like you want to specialize on information architect alone. So we still get there. There is another session on that particular topic on its own, in which by the time we start our project, you will see how it goes. So by the time you finish your program, you can decide which particular area you want to specialize on. Okay? Then we have architects as a whole. Architects as a whole mean the entire structure of the platform, be it mobile app or the web application. Then we have the content. You will agree with me that the three major content on any platform is text, video, and sound, right? So those three contents that we have, how do we arrange them on our platform to ensure maximum usability of our platform? It's part of our work as a US designer. Then visual design, how the platform will look in terms of color, arrangement, font, and the likes. That is also part of our responsibility to coordinate. The industrial design, this is actually uh, this actually concerned with the domain knowledge. Like if you are designing a platform for healthcare, there are some things you should be expecting as far as healthcare is concerned, be it like maybe the regulation that coordinate them. I think one sound is
I think that's so.
okay. So you have to put the domain knowledge in mind when you are designing, like what the industry you are designing, what are the things particularly for that particular domain, like healthcare or finance or banking or social media. Those are different area of design. Like a product can come from different industry. Then the human factor is more or less centered on the usability of your product. So after development of any product, the product need to pass through what we call human factor or usability testing to see how easy people can use your product, how effective your product is, and how easily people can effectively use that product. Then interaction design. How will your user be interacting with your product? All these things need to become to your mind as a user experience design. Then we also have sound design. Maybe you are using a platform that is doing maybe voice to text or text to voice and the likes, we also need to design those things. Or a platform that is using sound maybe for notification. I don't know now, but during some times ago, if you are pressing your keyboard, as you are pressing the keyboard will be doing ton 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 ton. All those sign, all those sound, they need to be designed, or probably in WhatsApp as well. I don't know, some application like that. When message enter, there will be a sound like that. So those sign, if the sound is irritative to your customer or to your user, definitely it might not performing the best work that you are expecting for it to perform. So you need to also work on that. Those are the things we are working on as a user experience designer. Then human computer interaction. We also need to be considering how human beings are interacting with computer. Uh, I got one example. I will have. Can you guys see me? I mean, see me particular like video.
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, I want to demonstrate something. Uh, we are talking about human computer interaction, and when we are talking about computer, it's as well boils down to phone and all the gadgets that we are using. So, uh, if you look at the phone and you look at if you look at how you handle the phone, if you look at it, is it easier for somebody to use one, like somebody that have only one hand? Can somebody have only one hand operate phone? Is it possible? Can you operate phone with only one hand, like the
Well,
phone?
it
You said?
technically it's not possible.
You said?
Technically, it's not possible without support. I say technically, it's not possible without support.
Okay. Any other answer, please? Thank you, Samson.
I think for phone, if someone have just one hand, the person can use the phone because you don't require both ends to use the phone.
Thank you, Ejiro, right? I think I got.
Can I say something about that?
Okay, okay.
Okay. Like it depends on the function you want to perform. Like for example, if you want to type on your phone, you will normally need to use both hands. But for example, my phone now has a function that if you want to type with one hand,
Okay,
your keyboard will like divide the keypad into two,
okay,
such that your thumb can reach all letters of the keyboard. But technically, without that function, I cannot type. It's just one hand on the phone.
okay. Yeah. Any other contribution? Ajayi and Asisa. Rosne, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Continue.
Okay, thank you. So, what we want to bring out from this particular exercise is that to some extent, you can see I can still interact with my phone with one hand. But let's assume they design phone like this, that this is how I need to hold my phone. You can see that if this is how we need to hold phone, definitely nobody can able to interact with phone with one hand. And that is a good example of human to computer interaction. You know, there is no phone before. And nobody have, when there is no phone before, when they are first thinking about the idea, nobody know how is to look. Nobody know what size phones should be or the shape phones, the shape that we should use for the phone. Nobody know that. But it's now the responsibility of human to computer interaction to decide, okay, how do human being behave? What is the as in the physiology of human being and the device we want to design for them, how can they easily interact with this product? How can we design the product in a way that it will ensure easy interaction? And if you look at your laptop, the limit laptop, because if you can see that is very convenient if somebody actually want to put it on the lap to use. All those innovation, all those design arise as a result of a better human to computer interaction. So when you are design, you also need to think in the perspective of the human being that they will be using this product. Think about how they will be interacting with the product. Is it something that is going to be easy for them? So you don't design based on what you want, but you design based on what you think it will be easier or be the best for the users that you are designing for. So basically, those are some different area of concentration or different area of specialization we have under user experience design. And each of them, you, before you even decide, you will also, before you will decide to specialize on any one of them, you still need the knowledge of all these area of specialization. You need to acquire the knowledge, but maybe based on the area where you find your work, maybe where the organization you are working with, if it is a big organization, a very big organization, think about organization like Facebook, Instagram, at the initial stage, at the earliest age of all these products, one person can do all these things. A UI UX designer can do both the US work and the UI work. But by the time the organization is growing bigger, they are having thousands of pages in one application. Look like Facebook now. Like hundreds of engineers are working on Facebook due to the complexity of the platform, different page, thousands of pages that the platform have. So in organization like that, you might, as in they might need to specialize all these area to different professionals. But if you are working with a small organization or medium organization, probably you might be responsible for all these areas. Okay, so that is that. Then let's move to the US design process. So the process basically is 5 stages. The first stage is to define the project you want to work on. If you can still remember the last slides in our last lecture, define it, design it, test it, and the likes. So the first stage of the US design process is defined. And what are we doing under this stage? At this stage is similar to the innovation stage, like when the CEO or the customer just have the idea, they never know where the idea is going. Nobody know, maybe it will be a productive one or something that they need to just abandon and move to the next things that's more realistic. So at this stage, we need to understand the problem. And you can see it starts with problem. Any product you can see outside today, be it mobile app or web application, if people are truly using that product, definitely that product is solving a particular problem. If your product is not solving any problem, nobody will use that product. So the first thing you need to try to understand when the idea comes up is try to understand the problem that you identify. So once you understand the problem that you identify, that is when we can come up with a product that can solve that particular problem. So understand the problem, then product definition. Once you understand the problem that you are trying to solve, then you can now define the product, like give definition to the product that you want to design to solve the problem. So for instance, let me just throw this question to each and every one of us. What is the problem Facebook is solving? Who is going first?
Yeah, Facebook is basically solving the problem of reaching reaching friends and family members like quickly and seeing the progress of friends and family members easily
Okay.
through charts and timeline updates.
Okay. Let me help you to read. Thank you, Samson. Samson, that's Samson, right? Yeah.
Usual.
You
No,
you
that's a
said,
zero.
oh, no, Ejiro, sorry. I can't see you guys. I'm only seeing my screen here. So it's only your voice that I can listen to. Okay, so thank you, Ejiro. Let me just redefine that. Like, Facebook is trying to connect, like, they created that platform to connect people together. Maybe it's family, friend, any think of any connection like that. It's basically to connect people, right? Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. So that's Facebook. The next one is WhatsApp. What's the problem WhatsApp is trying to solve from the people that have not give us that's either Samsung or Asisa or Rosni?
I would say WhatsApp solves the
Communication
problem.
problem. Like it's easy to communicate on WhatsApp to reach people and oh, I think communication problem. It solves communication problem.
Excellent. That is perfect, as in clearly said. So the major problem WhatsApp is solving is communication problem. And that happened sometimes ago, like if you remember in Nigeria at the early stage, when they brought like when we start using phone like that. If you want to text message, you have to pay, right? Like text message have its own price. It's not free. Not like UK that text message is free. Text message, they will still charge you for text message. And now, if you want to communicate people outside the country, it's now more expensive. Maybe one message is 15 naira to send message to outside the country or for them to set. So the communicating people outside the country or abroad is very difficult. And people in maybe US, Canada, and the likes, it's very difficult for them to communicate their people at home in Africa. That is one of the major problems that leads to the existence of WhatsApp there, because that's when those guys start with trying to solve that particular problem, and they create WhatsApp so that people abroad they can easily communicate their people at home through WhatsApp once there is data. So, and you can see to some extent they're able to solve that problem. So I still have another platform, Instagram. So what is the problem Instagram is trying to solve? That's something and Assisat. Anyone? Anybody want to go?
Yeah, Instagram is actually similar to Facebook, just that Instagram is designed to use more of media, video, and pictures more than Facebook. The user interface of Instagram allows more of video and pictures compared to Facebook, but they mainly serve the same purpose. So because there is more room for media, it makes it easier to have businesses on Instagram if you want to like, advertise your businesses, have a brand, and all, but they majorly serve the same purpose, just that Instagram allows small media. So it depends on your priority as a user. If you want to view more video, people's brand and all of that, you tend to Instagram more than Facebook.
Thank you, Samson. That is close to the answer, but the actual reason why they create Instagram is giving people ability, like giving people platforms through which they can share their picture. At the initial stage, that's the major reason, that's the major problem Instagram is trying to solve. At the early stage, when they create, when phone just started, like start gaining popularity, Apple they start increasing their camera capacity, in which people are able to snap good picture with their phone. Now the Instagram think of okay, people are able to snap picture, good picture with their phone. So let's create a platform where people can able to share their picture. So that's the major problem Instagram is trying to solve then. But today, like you said, today it has become like we can see that it is now able to solve different problems today. But at the initial stage, as in the major reason why they established that platform is to give people opportunity to be share their picture. Like, okay, you got a nice picture, you can share it, everybody can see it. So people are sharing their picture there. And if you look at the interface of Instagram, it's mostly, and if you look even from the logo, you will see that it is like a camera icon, that logo. But don't worry, we still get, as in, I will give you opportunity during one of our lecture like that. You will have opportunity to meet the guy. I mean, the guy that owned that found Instagram. Then you hear some information from him as well. Because we still need some information. We need something to learn from him as well. We still get to him later in some of our upcoming lecture. Okay, so the last one person, assess that. Why do they? What is the problem Google is trying to solve? Assess that. Are you with us? I'm not sure she's with us here. Okay, let's go on. She will, maybe when she come out on board, she will come and answer our own question. Okay, so now I want to believe that each and every one of us have understand that the origin of every product is ability to identify a problem that we can use a particular, maybe our knowledge, our skill, or to solve. And once we identify that, then we can now create a product around that to solve that particular problem. So that's the first stage. Then the second stage is research. Now we have identified the problem. The problem is that people are not able to connect with each other. Maybe people in us abroad, they cannot easily communicate their people at home in Africa. That's it. problem we identify, and we are trying to create WhatsApp to solve that particular problem. So the next stage is research. We now need to to carry out research on that domain. What are the things people have been doing as far as that problem is concerned before? Let's also understand the user, because we cannot only judge the problem based on our own intuition or based on our own exposure. Let's also make research on the user. Let's hear from the user. Let's see what the user have to contribute to this problem. If we can gain some information from them, then let us also understand the user behavior. How are these user behaving? Competitive research, like who are the competitors and who are the people that are also trying to solve this particular problem. Okay, now through this research we able to gather as much as possible information concerning the user, concerning the problem, concerning the competitors, and with those information then we can move to the next stage, which is analyze. We can now start analyzing those data that we collect during the research. So don't worry about how to conduct all this. We'll pick each of these process one after the other in the later lecture and see how we can do all these things by ourselves. Okay? So with the data that we are gathering during the research stage, then we will start analyze those data, and once we analyze the data, we're able to get some idea on what we want to do. At this stage, we have better understanding about the problem than the initial understanding that we have about it at the defined stage. So with the analysis, then we can move to the next stage, which is the design stage. At the design stage, this is when we are now exploring those design idea, like from the analysis, we have already understand the problem, we have understand the user, we have analyzed everything, we have put down some keynotes down, like things we need to understand both from the user perspective, from the problem perspective, from the competitors perspective, and from the universe perspective as well, like where do we want to implement this particular product? Is it a particular local area or global or a state or a region? Those things can also affect some decisions that we will make. So after analyze all those data, then we can start exploring and start creating some idea. And the ideas start from like creating sketch, and the sketching you can use just paper and pencil. Like if they ask you now, if you are a tailor, you want to create a new design for me. Maybe I just bought a new piece of fabrics, and I would just want a creative design and you want to demo. You can use pen and pencil to just sketch something for me. Okay, this is how the design will look. We do it like this. We do it like this. That is like you are sketching the idea. Same thing with your products. But once you move out of the analyzed stage, you should able to sketch your idea on paper. Like, okay, this is how the home page, like rough idea. It's not necessarily something perfect, but we should able, based on the information we have analyzed at the analyzed stage, we should be able to scale each component out. How the home page will look like, the contact all, the about all, the dashboard, the admin dashboard, the user dashboard, all the chart area, how are these components going to look like? We should able to sketch it on paper with just normal. And why do we start with sketching? The reason being that if you sketch anything on paper, okay, let's say we are together now, we are thinking, okay, how should our home page look like? Like I said before, when they want to create phone, nobody know how it should look like. Some people sit down and think about the entire system and come up with a particular design, which has become a conventional design now. Okay, same thing goes to your product. You have to sit down and sketch things out on paper. Okay, how home page look like, sketch it out. If you sketch it out, everybody will look it. Even if you are five in a team, each member of the team can have different sketch. And you can look at the five sketch together. Okay, this better, this better. If those sketch are not okay, you can share the paper and pick another paper and sketch another thing till you guys able to come up with a reasonable sketch for that particular component of the application. Then from sketching, you can move to but before you sketch, you have to do the information architect. Before, if you don't do the information architect, you will not able to sketch right, because the information architect will have arranged all the information on the platform. Like, okay, we have the site map. Okay, under this particular category, we have the list of the page, this list of the page, this list of the functionality will belong to this particular area. So from the information architect, you will have able to create the site map. So from the site map, you can now be picking those entity under each site map to sketch them out, like how they will look like. Then from there, you can move to, once your sketch is perfect, don't worry about much about those things now. Just have a brief understanding about what they are all about, because we are still coming, each of these things that you are seeing under each process, we'll be taking them one after the other and put them into practice with our project by the time we start working on our project. Okay, so after the sketching, you move to the wireframe. Once you think that you are okay with all the sketch that you have on hand, then you can now create a wireframe. A wireframe is just like, it's similar to sketch, but just now that just that with wireframe you are not using paper and pen again. Well, you are using some computer tools. I will show you those tools so that we will use it together, then you see how it works. Then you create a low fidelity wireframe with it. Let the stakeholder go through the wireframe. If everybody is okay with the wireframe, then we can move to prototype, creating a prototype for that wireframe. And why do we create wireframe before prototype? It's because wireframe is just like black and white design. No color, no much paparazzi, no picture, just normal sketch. But instead of using paper and pen, we are using computer tool to make it neat, because if you are using paper and pen, something you might think, okay, the line is not straight, all those kind of things. So there's computer tool we can use to make it neat. But the effort we put into the wireframe is very small, because there's no color, there's no paparazzi design. So if there is if anything goes wrong, that we need to change the entire design, we can easily cancel wireframe and go back to our sketching stage and perfect everything and move back to wireframe. But if you jump wireframe to prototype, if you compare the effort required to create a prototype, the resources that is required to create a prototype is much far from normal low fidelity wireframe. So you might not feeling good by the time you destroy an entire prototype, compare with if we need to cancel a wireframe. Okay, so and once you have your prototype, you can start doing testing, evaluation, gathering feedback, redefine, everything is okay. Then you move to the last stage, which is launch. Then you can launch your product. Once you launch your product, people will start using it. We will carry out usability testing on the products to ensure that the product is easy for the user to use. User testing. Then we deliver, if it is a product we are creating for another client, we will deliver the product for them. Then they will start the implementation, like moving to the development, start writing the code of the project, which might not actually concern us much. But you will notice something, that the line coming from launch go back to define. The reason being that once you carry out after you launch the product, they test it. If the test fail, you have to go back to the first stage. If your test fail at this stage, you need to go back to define. Maybe you have not properly defined the problem clearly, and that might result to the failures of the prototype that you create. So once the prototype fail at the test stage, definitely you go back to the define stage. And you can see now that the define stage is, we say, is one of the most important stage of US design process. Why? Because if you get it wrong at the define stage, definitely many other stages that will be following will be wrong, and by the time you launch your product, you will find out that you launch the wrong product, and by the time they carry out the user testing, the product will fail and you go back to square one. So it is always important to have a clearly defined problem or product before you embark on the journey. Is that clear to all of us? Or any question before we move on? Question, guys?
No problem.
No question from me, please.
Okay. All right, guys. So let's move on. Now, once we have a project on ground, what is the next stage? We already have a problem that we want to solve. We already have a project that we want to embark on. So, what are the methods that we can use? What are different approaches that we can use to carry out our project? So basically, we have two major approaches. We have waterfall and we have agile development approach. Does anybody know the difference between waterfall and agile? Anybody? Who want to give a try? Difference between waterfall model and agile development approach. Nobody? Okay, so I will take no for no answer. Okay, so if you look at the two pictures that we have here, two of them comprise the same thing. We have conception, initiation, analysis, design, construction, testing, deployment. Same thing with agile. But the major difference here is that for each stages of development, the waterfall approach, they are seeing it as a linear process. Like once you finish one stage, you can move to the next stage, then move to the next stage, then move to the next stage till you finish, till you get to the last stage. And once you get to the last stage, which is deployment, then you deploy the product. So if you use the life cycle we have before, or if you follow the life cycle, like from the innovation, this particular life cycle that we have here, for innovation, information gathering, strategy planning. So the waterfall approach, they see them as separate stages that you just need to move from one stage. Once you complete this stage, move to the second stage. Once you complete the second stage, move to the third stage, then till you get to the final stage, which is deployment. That is waterfall. But on the other hand, the agile approach see it as a circular process. And what do I mean by circular process? Like each of these stages, they are not independent. Like if you once you have to move move in a cycle throughout the process. Like if you define, like for instance, assume we have a particular project and we divide that particular project into different sections, maybe the user dashboard, the home page, the landing page and the likes. So let's assume we pick a particular pieces of that project. We will carry out all the necessary stage on that particular project, do the testing, like the design phase, the testing, and before we deploy it. And if the testing is okay, we will move to another stage. But if the testing of that particular phase is not okay, we will go back to the define, just like what we have here. Like you can see this movement, it is circular movement. Like once you define, you do research, analyze, design, launch, the test fail at the launch stage, then you go back to the define for each of the components in your project, But waterfall want to develop all the project as a, like, let us do all the research at once, let us do all the analyze at once, let us do all the design at once, and once we finish design, let us also do all the development at once. And once everything is ready, let us deploy the product at once. That is waterfall, in which in agile model, it is like a continuous process. Like once you finish the stage, test it. After testing, use the feedback to make improvement until the product is perfect before you launch. So that's the major difference. But for us to understand, because it might look like an abstract explanation, so for us to understand, I would also like to use this illustration for example. So let's see this particular cycle like a development life cycle. So the first stage, we do the planning, we design, we do the coding, and we do the testing. At this testing stage, anything can happen. If the product passed this testing, then we can deploy it. If the testing is not passed, then we go back to the planning. Then we can continue moving like that till that particular piece of our product pass the testing activity before we can, okay, this is now ready to deploy. Let's pick another pieces of the project and let's also do the same thing to it. So that's it. Build, design, test. Build, design, test for each of the division. So you will see one statement here, sprints. I'll be mentioning division or part or section. It's like you have a project. For instance, let's take Facebook for example. When they want to design Facebook, they can say, okay, some people should focus on the page functionality. Some people should focus on group functionality. Some people should focus on all these post picture, post and media functionality. They can do it like that, and they can also do it in another way by like divide those work that they need to do. They can divide it. They can divide them like into different group. Like okay, for the first month, let us focus on the group functionality. Then for the second month, let us focus on the media posting functionality. For the third month, let us focus on page functionality. Each of those divisions that they categorize their work to based on duration they want to spend on them, that's what we refer to sprint. So let us for that for a particular project, we have two sprints. Maybe we divide the project into two. Okay, let's spend the first 3 months on the first division, which is sprint one. The second division, the second section, let's spend like maybe 6 months on it. That might be sprint two. So for the sprint one, we cannot just jump to sprint two without move through that cycle. We build it, we design, we build it, we design it, we test it. Design, test, build, design, test, build, design, test, build. It's only when a particular sprint are passed at the test level before we build it. Then we test again. Once the build tests have been carried on and it also passed, then we can move before we can move to the next sprint. So, do we all understand the major difference between agile and waterfall development approach? Any question? Any reaction? Hello? Are you guys there?
Yeah.
Yes, we are here.
Do we understand the agile and waterfall development approach? The difference between them?
Yes, please.
How about Ejiro and Roslyn, Sisa, are you there?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay. So you might be wondering why is this important to you as a US or UI development and designer? It's very important for you to understand the difference between the two because any project you'll be working on in your organization, definitely they might follow any of these two approaches, and the approach they follow will determine how you will operate when you are carrying out the project. Okay? So now there is a framework or methodology that they created for agile approach. Okay. So to add more explanation, it's just like we divided our project into different backlog. What do I refers to backlog? Like once you have a project, you have some set of functionality that the that must be in that particular application, be it web application or mobile application. So you have a list of different functionality. So you can all user requirements. So you can see those user requirement or functionality or user story. You can call it anything based depend on the projects you are working on. So each of those divisions, you can call them backlogs. So you will now be taking them one after the other. You can see this is the first one we take. Then that first one we design, build, then if the test fail, we iterate till that particular product is perfect. Then we deliver it to the user. I mean to the user that want to that we are developing the product for. Once we deliver it to the user, because the test that we carry out is within the organization, we cannot actually conclude on that product yet until we deliver the product to the actual user and they use the product. If they cannot give us feedback on that product, on that particular piece, you can see that we did not deliver the entire product at a go. We are deliver the product bit by bit, and that is another major difference between waterfall and agile development approach. So in waterfall, we deliver all this block, we deliver everything once, and the user will go and use the product. And you can see that can lead to a lot of issue at the user end. But compare with this agile method in which we are picking the block one by one. We design the first functionality, which is the first item we pick. We design it, we test it. After everything, we are okay with it. Then we deliver it to the customer. The customer use it and give us feedback. The feedback is good. We go back and carry another item or backlog or functionality. Then we design it, develop it, test it till it is okay for us. Then we deliver another piece. They give us feedback again. Then the process continue like that till we finish all the block that we got here. So you can see we are delivering the product bit by bit, and that's what we call incremental development. Like we did not develop everything at once. We are developing it incrementally. Once we finish one particular bit, we move to another one. We finish that, we move to another one. We deliver, we get feedback, it's okay. It's until when we get feedback and the customer says it's okay before we can move to another one. So we have been certified that that particular component is functionally okay, and the user is satisfied with that before we pick another one, and we'll be deliver the product incrementally like that. So you can see if you are using agile, the way you will work is different from the way you will carry out the project if your organization decide to use waterfall. So how can we know which one to use? Because we cannot actually say one is good, one is bad. It depends on the kind of project that you are working on that will determine the best method that is suitable to that. Okay? So for the linear, we refer the waterfall to linear. You can see it is like a linear development that you are just moving from one stage to another and deploy straight away once, in which one agile we are deploying incrementally. So in one of the criteria that will determine maybe you want to use waterfall or is the predictability of the environment, or is it something that you have been doing before? Like, if for instance, as you have been developing e-commerce website often and often, maybe you have developed like 10 e-commerce platform before. So if you are developing the next e-commerce platform, it is not a new thing to you again. You can actually predict all the functionality they want that should be in that platform, or it's something that you have been repeatedly doing before. So you are familiar with that particular development environment. So that type of product, you might decide to use waterfall for it because there is familiarity and it's something the organization have been doing for a long period of time, that they can predict what will happen in that product. So in that case, we can decide to use waterfall straight away. But if the situation is not clear, maybe it is a new product that nobody know actually what will happen. Maybe it is an innovation idea, nobody have experience in that part of development before, in that type of project before. The best method to use in that situation is agile, because if you use agile, you just at the defined stage, the customer tell you what they want, but it's not a product that anybody have developed before. Definitely you cannot actually predict everything that will happen. Even you might face technology challenge, maybe something that you think you were able to work out and it did not work out. So in that case, it's better to be developing that particular project. Let's assume the product have 20 functionality. You can start picking each of those functions one after the other, develop the first function, let the user test if it is okay with what they actually want. If it's okay, move to the next function. If it is okay, move to the next one. If it's not okay, trying to find means of creating a better design before move to another session. Those are the major things that usually differentiate or determine which of these two approach someone will employ for a particular project. So if you are using agile, if something will fail, it will fail fast. Like if you are doing bit by bit, so if by the time you pick the first bit and you deliver it to the customer, if they are not okay with it, they will easily to tell you as soon as possible, compared to if you want to finish the whole project before you deliver it. Definitely if the whole project will take you a year, that means the customer will wait for that 1 year before they get the whole project and before they can actually test the project at their own end and give you feedback. But if you are developing it bit by bit, maybe the first month itself, maybe the first 2 weeks itself, you have finished the first function and you deliver it. The customer tests it, they are okay with it, they give you feedback. That means the first 2 weeks of the project, you have already been receiving feedback. Something is not working, you have already been knowing that it's not working. Compare with if you wait to the end of the development after the 1 year. So pay good attention to this development approach. By the time you go for your interview, to some extent, most of interviewers want to know your understanding with these two methodology, because if you are not familiar with any of them, that person might not qualify to be a UI UX designer, because that means you have not passed through the practical stage of the entire process. So anytime you are going for something like that, make sure you revise this particular aspect. Okay, so there is a research that was conducted by a platform like that to see, okay, which of this method is okay. So my disclaimer on this is just a test from a particular organization, but based on our practical experience, we have realized that agile is always far better than waterfall. You can see the success rate of agile development approach here, 42 compared with 26 of waterfall. Challenges 50% compared with 53% for waterfall. Rate of failure in agile is, can see 8%, which is lesser than 21% in waterfall. And you can see with this metric, we can conclude that agile is better than waterfall. But that doesn't mean that it's better than it in every situation. I've gave you a sample of situation in which we might consider waterfall, and waterfall can able to give us best result, maybe based on the fact that we are familiar with that type of development, and we can predict the expected outcome of the project we are working on. So that's it. And what you will learn from that is this is a teamwork. It's not something that one person is doing. You can see it's involved team of people. So now this is another problem. How can we ensure that all these teams can able to work together effectively to provide the right solution that the organization want to provide? So this is another challenging area. How can we make our team work together effectively? So, in order to solve this problem, a framework, a framework or a method was developed which is called Scrum method or Scrum framework. Have anybody, maybe you have come across this framework before? Any one of us who have came across this framework before? Who have something to say about it? Roslyn, Samson, Ejiro,
No, not at all.
and Asisa.
I've only been hearing about it, but I've not really face to face.
Okay, thank you guys. So let's just have like a quick overview about what Scrum framework is all about. Even if you don't want to know anything about it, it's good to know that it is existing, and it's good to know that probably by the time you start your work, you will be using it. And once you know that you'll be using a particular framework or methodology, or your organization will be using it. So it's good for you to familiarize yourself with it, especially some terminology in the framework, so that when your colleagues is talking to you, you will be able to catch up with what they are saying. And that's where it is easier to identify somebody that have experience and somebody that do not have experience. If you are joining an organization with no experience, when they are talking about some things, you will not. So, for instance, somebody might not be a UX designer. And if you are not a UX designer, probably you might not have idea of all these things we are talking about. But if your colleagues are communicating with you and they mention some terminology, like they won't know that it's terminology. It's because it's normal language, or it's normal industrial language to them. But you will be wondering about what are they saying, and with that they will easily identify that you are a novice, like you are totally beginner, that you don't have experience in that field. But you see somebody that even maybe did not have experience up to you, like to your own level, but have idea of all this terminology and can easily communicate and flow with other people. They will think, okay, this actually know what we are saying. This person actually know what we are talking about. So let's break down the framework. Let's start from the left side here. You will see the product owner. The stakeholder can also, the product owner can represent the stakeholder. So that's the reason we have a product owner here. So you can see there is information flowing between the stakeholder and the product owner. In the organization, you have the stakeholder, maybe the management, the marketing department, different departments, all those people we can refer or to them as the stakeholder. But among the team that will be working on that particular product, we represent somebody with product owner. The product owner is acting like the owner of the product. And that person must have a clear understanding about the product. Actually, that did not concern you. It's the organization that will assign the product owner. So once we have the product owner will give us all the list of product backlog that we have. And I've explained what the product backlog is before. Like in every product that you want to develop, in every project you are working on, there will always be a list of functions that product can perform. There are different terms that can be used for that. Maybe you can say user story, like what are the things user want to be doing on that platform. Maybe user story or task or function. But I think function is easier for all of us to understand, right? So let's see this particular list, like the product function list, all the function the product must able to perform. So that's what we refer to product backlog. So we list all of them. Once we have all the lists, the team will review the list and prioritize how important each of those backlog are. And once we prioritize them, then we now group them into development phases. Development phases mean the duration we want to spend on each of those groups. So there are some, maybe 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, we group them to one group. Maybe we assign maybe 2 months for those particular session. 4 to 7, maybe we put it to another group. Maybe we assign 2 months for that. So we'll continue like that, group all the function into different category, assign duration to finish each category for each of these, assign duration to finish each of those category. So if the entire project will take us 1 year, we will have know, how many categories do we have? And each of those categories is what we call sprints. So those categories that you break them that, like, you can call it a category or maybe development phases. Like, phase 1, phase 2, the first 2 months, we use it for this phase. For the following 3 months for a particular phase, the following 2 months, you can depend on the project you are working on. So those phases of development is what we call sprints. So you might be in an organization and they say what sprint we are. Maybe so it might be what phase of the development are we now? Are we at sprint 1, sprint 2? So at sprint 1, everybody will have know what we are doing in sprint 1 based on the category that belong to that sprint. And in sprint 2, what are the things we are doing in sprint 2 and what is the time frame that we have for each of those sprints? So once you have the list of all the sprints, then you will know the first sprint, which of these sprints is the first one to go with. So they will always be in a linear arrangement like that. That once you finish one sprint, you move to another sprint. Once that sprint, you move to the next sprint till you will finish all the sprint. But inside each of those sprints, you still have many backlogs. You can see that we categorize all these logs into different sprints, different development phases. So that means under each of those sprints, we still have some backlog under each of those sprints. So by the time you start the development, you are not facing the entire sprint as a whole. You are picking the backlog under each sprint, one after the other. Like, for instance, there are some
under the product backlog that we have here, that's on the backlog 1 to 4. We categorize them into a particular sprint. So all the 1 to 4 have become that particular sprint backlog. Same thing with other sprints. So a sprint will definitely have 2 or more backlog under it. And when you want to start with a particular sprint, you now be taking each of those sprints one after the other. And when you are taking them one after the other, you are following this process, this particular process. Design, test, build for each of those backlog under each sprint. And once you do that for each backlog under each sprint, till you finish all the backlog under that particular sprint, then you can move to the next sprint. So that's how you'll be moved. Then final sprint, when you get to this final sprint, then the project will end. So a particular project can have any number of sprints, depend on how you guys divide the development phases for that particular project. So I want to believe that we have understand what we mean by product backlog and what we mean by sprints. Sprint planning is just the process where we are deciding which backlog belong to which particular sprint. So once we have different phases, different sprints like that, then we already know the backlog that belong to each of those sprints. Then we can move to this particular aspect. Now, if you look at this place, you can see Scrum Master. So the best way to understand what Scrum Master is the project manager. It's more or less like the project manager. So if you go to an organization and they are calling somebody Scrum Master, so see that person as the project manager. And what is this person trying to do? You know, we have already divided our project into different sprints, and under different sprints, we already have different backlog under each of those sprints, and we already assign time of completion for each backlog under each sprint, and we already know the entire duration for each sprint. So it's now the responsibility of the Scrum Master to ensure that we are following those duration. Like how many backlog do we want to complete in a day, or what are the size of the project we must complete in a particular hour. So it's responsibility of Scrum Master to ensure that everything is moving okay. Like the development is going smoothly, the team are working together smoothly, just like a project manager that is coordinating the entire project, assigning responsibility to each and individual, assigning project to, okay, this is what you should be working on, this is so hours that it will take you, and you will be the one that will be monitoring progress. Like, what are the progress? Do we able to achieve our target today? Same thing tomorrow till project will finish. So basically, Scrum Master is coordinating the entire project operation and monitoring the project progress in order to ensure that you did not deliver your project late. For instance, if the project is supposed to be delivered by March and maybe you have 3 sprints for that product, and by February you have not even finished the first sprint, definitely everybody will have known that it's problem. We have not finished 4 sprints and we still have 2 sprints on ground, and we're supposed to deliver next month. So if there is problem, if there will be delay in delivery of your product or of the project, definitely it is easier to identify any delay, because if it's 2 days that's if it is 2 days that is assigned to a particular backlog, and after that 2 day you discover that you have not complete that particular backlog, definitely there is a problem, because that time that you still need to continue work on it, it will affect another backlog that you're supposed to start. So it is easier to identify if there will be delay in delivery of the project, or if everything is working okay. Okay, so that is kind of a base illustration of what the Scrum framework is all about. I think the aspect we have not talked about in this side, the potential release increment, like these are the each backlog that you are taking. Once each of those backlog is being complete, you can drop it. That means that one particular one have been ready for deployment or delivery, and you can see it's following the incremental releasable approach by agile uh, development approach. So once we release a particular increment, then it will go through review, and once the review is okay, then we can put it aside. Okay, this is ready for deployment, or this is ready to go to the customer. So that is the overview of Scrum framework. Do we have any question as far as Scrum framework is concerned before we move to another thing? Any question? Or is it clear?
It's clear.
Thank you,
Yeah, this
Samson.
is Benjamin. Before you talked about Scrum Master, I wanted to ask, maybe at the end of the class, I wanted to ask the difference between, as in the relationship between project manager and the UI UX designer.
Yeah. The That's the work, like the project manager, like I said, is more or less like the scrum master here. So it's not depend on the methodology that the organization is using that will determine what title they give to that particular person. So if they are using scrum methodology under agile development approach. So they might refer to that person as Scrum Master, just like this. And some organizations, they will just call it project manager, just like that. So, in response to the question that what's the relationship between them and the US designer, right? So definitely the US designer is working for the organization, the project manager is working for the organization, but the project manager can coordinate the smooth running of the project to ensure that the project is delivered at the right time and it's up to the quality, the standards the organization is expecting, like coordinating the timing. Okay, this is so time that we have for the particular, maybe for the research space, we only have 1 month for it. How can we work within that time to ensure that everything goes so it's now responsibility of the US designer. Okay, my research, how can I conduct my research within the given time and still achieve the result I want to achieve? If it is US designer to decide when they want to finish the work, definitely they can. I might give myself, any time that is convenient for me. Like I might say I want to spend 3 months on research, but it's now the responsibility of the project manager to, okay, we don't have 3 months for research. Can you able to use 2 months or 1 month? All those negotiation, it's more or less like negotiation stuff between the research and the US designer, and including the UI, including the entire team. It's like a negotiation, but upon everything, the Scrum Master still have the final say on everything because he is responsible for the progress of the project. So he's responsible to assign time, duration. Some people will use hours, maybe 4 hours for a particular task. Some people will use days, maybe 2 days for a particular backlog. Some people will use months for sprints. Usually, sprint is usually between months, like a sprint usually be minimum of a month, 1 month, and some can be 2 months, 3 months, even years, depend on the volume of the project you are working on. Okay, is that
Okay,
answer your
thank you very
question?
much.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, so let's move to the next thing we need to get familiar with, which is project management tools. So you can see that we have been talking about different projects, different as in team working together, everything. So to make your work easier, definitely you will need some tools, and we have many project management tools outside. The one you'll be using in your organization, nobody can actually predict it as far as this moment is concerned because different organizations have different interests. Some people might decide to use Monday, Trello, Rack, Asana, Notion, project, different tools like that that you can use for project management. But if you are doing it for yourself, or you are doing it as, or you are doing for organization with low budget, then I will recommend Trello. I personally, I use Trello, and Amative as a whole, we are using Trello. Okay, because once a particular tool is effective for everything that you want to use and it is free, so you can see that you prefer the free one. But in some cases, maybe you are working on a very big project, there are some tools that also have some functionality more than Trello. So some cannot say that Trello is the best. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's the best for us as we are concerned. But other people can think about different tools like Monday, Asana, Notion, and the likes and the likes. So anybody have right to choose any project management tool, and it doesn't mean that you must know all these tools. Just try to familiarize yourself with one of them, one or two, as much as possible for you, not compulsory to have to know all of them, but anyone that you find convenient, try to rack your brain around it so that anyone the organization gives, because all of them have similar functionality. Like once you understand one, you're able to understand some of it. The only one that have much issue like that, like you have long learning curve, like Notion have long learning curve. You need to spend some time to learn it before you actually understand it, and probably one time or fast because there are many of them like that. But Trello is very easy. So for instance, let me see if I can go to Trello. So if we go to Trello.com, so it's free to register. You can just sign up your account here. So we will use it during our project, so you will see how it works. So that's because I do use Trello for many things apart from project management. I do use it for research. I do use it for qualitative analysis. I do use it for affiliating diagram, different things like that. So I like Trello, and but anybody can like anyone and choose anyone. Okay, so just basically I will tell each and every one of us like let's do it like this. We have like 4 years, right? So apart from Trello that I've talked about, let's in something you can pick Busy and Rosling, you can pick Monday, then Ejiro, you can pick Asana, then Assisat, Notion. So by next week, you will, each of us, like you, anyone that are assigned to you, try to find as much as possible information you can find about that project management tools and come and tell us what you learn about that tools. Like for instance, something you come and by next week you tell us what you find out, like a quick overview about quizzing. Then Roslyn will tell us quick overview about Monday.com. Then I think is it Ejiro or Assisat Ejiro, you can go for Asana, then give us quick overview on that. Then Assisat will give us quick overview on Notion. So that by that time, everybody will exchange those ideas. At that time, we will all know, I've already tell you about Trello, and as a matter of fact, we will use Trello for our projects during this program. So just to have quick overview about the rest. So by next week, we will share those ideas. Is that okay with us?
Yes,
Yes,
that's
that's
okay.
fine
Yes.
with me.
Okay, thank you guys. So this is where we will stop tonight. Start thinking of your project idea. So in this program, this internship program, we will work, each and every one of us will work on 2 projects. One project is general project, the one the organization is giving to you, like the project that all of us will work on together. The second project will come from you individually. You have to think, you can make your research and identify a particular problem. It could be a problem to a particular geographical area, and it could be a problem to entire world. So come up with one problem that you have identified, and you think you can develop a mobile app or a website platform to solve that particular problem. So that problem that you identify, that is the project you will be working on individual. So making the 2 projects. The projects the organization will give you that we will all work on, and the project you are working on as an individual project. So I'm here to supervise the 2 projects, to guide you guys on the 2 projects. We do the general one, we will do it together. I will be guiding you, tell us what to do. We will do the complete project together. But the one that belong to you, all you need is out for each week. You need to be giving us reports every week. Okay, what stage are you now? What have you done? Then if there's any correction we need to make, we make it. So by the time you will finish this program, you have complete true projects that you have completed within that, and that's one. Secondly, for instance, if Ejiro is working on a particular project, something we partner with Ejiro. I'm not grouping you guys. I'm just giving you what we have, like idea of what we have. Like there will be peer project that 2 of you will work on. That's the last one. So making 3 projects on this one. 1, 2 of you peer to work on the project. 1, your personal project. 1 from the organization that we are all working on together. So those are the 3 portfolio we are trying to build with you guys. And we believe you cannot have that and not achieve success in the field of UI UX design. Okay, so start thinking about your project idea, and next week let all of us come with your project, like come with your project idea. So by next week, what I'm expecting from you is that you should able to tell us the problem that you identify, and you should able to tell us the product definition, like what is your product, what is your product is all about. Then the goals of your product, the business goals of your product, you should be able to tell us. Value proposition, we all understand what that means, like what message you want to use to sell your product to your customer, what the value that is adding to the, what change your product bring. So then the project scope. So these are the things I'm expecting next week concerning your project. So let us stop here tonight and let's entertain question if there is any question, guys.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I want to ask, is it possible for us to like the materials you use for
Yes, I'm recording the class, so I will upload it to the portal so you guys can watch the recording. Is that okay? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm talking about the file, like,
The slide.
the slides.
You can get it, but that will be next after the next week lecture. The reason being that I combine this week and next week lecture together. Do you understand what I mean?
Alright.
So if you scroll down now, if I scroll down, you can see next week. So I continue like that. So before I will be able to release, maybe after next week, next lecture, then I can send the PDF file to you guys or also upload it to the platform, then you can download it there. Is that okay? Is that okay, guys?
Yes, that's very okay for me.
Any question? Then I
No
can,
question from me.
okay, then I can screenshot this particular area and upload it under assignment so that if you want to see everything that you need for the to talk about your project, to write about your project, and you can check it on the platform. We just screenshot this particular, as in like this particular aspect. So I'll put it on the assignment section. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you guys. Let's stop here since there is no any other question. Thank you so much for today's class. Then see you guys next week, right? Good
Thank you very
night.
much.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Ola.
Yep. I'm with
I
you,
don't know. The
Samson.
last